On today's episode, I give you my Men in Black International review, tell you everything that happened at E3 this weekend, and give you my pitch for a Ben Solo movie. So sit back, relax, and I'll talk about it after the intro. First, before we start, I want to thank you for listening to me today. And wherever you may be listening around the world, I hope you're having a great and peaceful day. So, let's get into the Men in Black International review. When I saw the trailers and even the casting news of what Men in Black International would be like, kind of a buddy cop continuance of all the three movies. Not really a reboot, but just, I guess you would say a soft reboot. And I thought casting Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson was a really good move to go. From the work from Thor Ragnarok, I thought that was perfect. Their chemistry was spot on and just amazing work from them. And I think that's what got me excited going into this movie. Just the chemistry and the casting and just what they may do. Maybe it would be a new trilogy. Maybe they could do that. And that would be kind of exciting. So going into this movie, I was kind of excited. And I'm here to say that it's not bad like Dark Phoenix, but it's not the best. And more I'm watching the blockbuster movies this summer, that's kind of what's been the trend. Now, is it sequel fatigue? I don't think so. I really don't. I think they're just worried about the box office because this kind of movie, I don't know how much it's gonna make, but it's gonna make a decent amount. I don't I don't know if it's gonna bomb at the box office, but I think it was a decent movie. But these Men in Black movies were never really just decent because the first one was really good. The second one was I could take it or leave it, but the third one I really liked. Getting young versions of the first one, that was very cool. And having Josh Brolin in there, he really did a great job in that third movie. But now, in this fourth one, I think they just counted on the chemistry of Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, and that's it. They did not have a good story, at least a story that stand out. It was just generic, in my opinion. This your run-of-the-mill buddy cop comedy action movie, and when I saw the trailers, I was expecting a little bit more from that. So, I mean, the villain is generic, nothing to write home about, nothing extraordinary or groundbreaking about the villain, and you didn't need to have that. You just had to at least have a good one. It didn't happen because they usually have decent villains, and these Men in Black movies just didn't. And I think it's showing in the reviews that people want good movies. They don't want decent movies because except like Avengers Endgame, we've been getting a lot of decent movies and we just haven't been getting that good ones. That ones that, oh, that really, really was a good movie. That was a pure summer blockbuster movie that you want to go back again and again and again. but we're not getting that. We're not getting those movies that when you look back to the summer when the year is over, it's like, yeah, that was a really standout movie. And I don't know why we're not getting that. Maybe it's just to get the money, because this movie will probably make it maybe about 300-400 million. Now I don't know how much the budget costs along with the marketing, but it seems like if Sony just makes a profit off this movie, they're gonna be happy. And I think that's kind of what studios are today. Now I'm not talking about all studios, because there are some exceptions. But recently, this is how I've been feeling. It's this these blockbusters have not been delivering. But maybe it's our fault for expecting more of what they've been giving us. We expect them to be hiding something that they're not showing in the trailer that's going to be astounding, but we don't get it. But I think that's just what I felt about Men in Black, and even what I felt about Dark Phoenix. I just felt a disappointment of the movie. A very unforgettable last couple of movies that has been coming out. Now, that might change in the later months when you get Spider-Man Far From Home, when you get The Lion King, the live action one, and many others. And we still have the Joker DC movie coming out, but that's not really a blockbuster. But I think to fully judge on what the summer blockbuster has been and how good or not how good it is, I think we need to wait it out and see. Maybe there's a couple surprises here and there. So I think that's something we have to look out for and not judge how the summer blockbuster is now. Because how it's looking, besides Endgame, that's really been the only good movie out recently. So maybe we just have to wait till July and August. I don't know. So I think that's all I think I want to talk about my review and slash the review of the summer blockbuster season. Now I want to talk about what happened at E3 convention this past weekend. If you don't know what that is, that's kind of a convention for video games, kind of like San Diego Comic Con for comic books and movies, but just all about video games and what to expect in the future or what's coming out this year. Now, there's a couple of games that caught my eye. One, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, because I love those games. Those games are so fun to play. Now, I think the last one they did was, I don't think it was The Last Jedi. I think it was The Force Awakens. I'm not sure. I think it was The Force Awakens. Because I think they skipped The Last Jedi. But to do a whole video game around the Skywalker saga, and I heard from Variety that they're going to be doing story moments that take like 15 minutes long. And they're going to coverage from each episode, even the Rise of Skywalker. So they know what's going to happen in the Rise of Skywalker. So that makes me even more excited. Because it's going to be funny, their interpretation of scenes of the last couple of movies, including The Rise of Skywalker. So that should be very cool to see. Because they always put their spin on it, like a comedic spin of the whole movies. And I think that's why we like it. It's just, so it brings the kid out on us, because at a point in time, we always love Star Wars Legos, even playing with them. You always have a ball. So and putting that in video game form, I think that's going to be a really great thing for them to give us. And I'm really excited of what they do with it because right now we're about 6 months from the Rise of Skywalker. I'm just want so much of that content of the Rise of Skywalker before the movie comes out because this is going to be the last movie in all the Skywalker saga, and you're never going to have this time again. You're never going to have this anticipation again for a Star Wars movie, especially in a saga like this that's been building up for like 40 plus years. So that's going to be very, very fun to see and what they came up with. And I think there's a reason why I believe it's coming out next year. I might have to check it, but I believe it's before. What? Yeah, I think it's after because it wouldn't make sense to be released before the Rise of Skywalker because they're just giving things away. So I believe it's after the Rise of Skywalker. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is that new Marvel's Avengers video game coming out next year in May. Now, when I first saw the trailer, I was kind of taken back because of the likeness of the Avengers. You know, I was expecting Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, all, all in their likeness. So because we're just coming off Endgame, coming off the emotional ride of being with those particular characters, I thought they would use them because from a marketing standpoint and a business standpoint, I think that would have been a good idea to get more money. So you can play as Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. You can play as Chris Evans' Captain America. But I thought it was very interesting that they didn't. And it reminds me of Insomniac's Spider-Man. How they wanted this Spider-Man to be their own. And it looks like it helped them a lot. Now, we got a little gameplay how it would look like. It looks good. It really does. It looks good. But I can't fully give a judgment on it until I see a official gameplay. Like 15 minutes of gameplay to really have a judgment on it. But for right now, it's good. I think they're going to fix up the character design because it was a little shady. I'm not really on board with it, but I'm going to give it a chance. So I think we have to be patient on that and see a game in a whole. I'm not going to be ranting about how it looks absolutely ridiculous and it looks like trash. No, give it some time. It's going to be released in a year. So just give it some time, calm down, and don't go out of control. We'll probably get some extended gameplay footage towards the end of the year because it's coming out in May 2020. So for all the people that are not sure about it, I would just take a breather, take a breath, and wait till they give you more until it's a little bit more polished and a little bit more finished. So I would wait for that. But everything I saw of it, I thought it was good. It did everything that it needed to do at that particular moment in time. So I think those are the two things that stood out for me at E3, and I'm looking forward for what those two games are going to bring to the table. So now, before I talk about some Star Wars and about my pitch for a Ben Solo movie, I saw some recent news of Spider-Man, a little tidbit, that there's going to be some social media reviews coming out in the next couple of days for Spider-Man Far From Home. And probably, I believe it's going to be around 2 p.m. when they can announce their social media review. It's not a full review, but it's just of the reaction of the film. So, for you Spider-Man fans, MCU fans that are real excited to see this movie, that's something to look forward to. Because here's the thing, I haven't heard like test screenings of people saying, "Oh, it's really good," or "Oh, it's terrible." We haven't heard anything of that. They've been pretty secretive. At least I haven't heard anything. So maybe you have. I just haven't heard it. But for a studio to do press screenings this early, like 2 weeks before it is released in theaters, I think that's something to be excited about and to be happy about. That they want to show critics the movie this early. It means they are confident about it, confident that they will like it and put out good buzz of the movie, because all the TV spots and all the things I've been seeing, they look pretty good to me. It looks like this is going to be a huge upgrade from Homecoming, and I really like Homecoming. I think what it could have benefited is maybe a couple more action scenes, but it looks like we're getting plenty of action in Far From Home, according to the TV spots and the short trailers. So that's something to look forward to, Spider-Man fans, and I can't wait to see what the reaction is. So, down to our last thing, our spotlight. So, I was thinking about this over the weekend. How would a Ben Solo movie turn out? Because we don't know how episode 9 is going to turn out. Because anything can happen. So, I mean, you can do this like before The Force Awakens. Like, how did he turn Kylo Ren? But you can do that in a novelization. You can do that in a comic book, and they've already started kind of doing that in different kinds of books. In in a Leia novelization, in a Han Solo kind of book. So I don't think you need to do a movie about that, and I don't really think you could do a movie between Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker. I think you have to do a movie after all the events of the Skywalker saga. You have, at least in my mind, because there's so many interesting ways you can go if he lives. I think we have to put a disclaimer on that. If he lives, which personally, to me, I think he will live, because it doesn't make any sense that he dies, because you're just recreating the cycle over again, because you gotta have two people have balance. One person cannot carry that balance. We thought Luke could do that. Look how that turned out. So, how are we going to do that? A Ben Solo movie. I think it has to be a standalone movie. A standalone Ben Solo movie after The Rise of Skywalker. And I think my pitch is do it Logan style. If you've seen Logan, he is old, he is moving slow, he's not as, oh, how can you say it, crisp as once was. He's kind of like how Logan was in Logan, breaking down and everything. Now, I think part of my pitch is Rey's gone. Or you could have Rey dying slowly like Xavier. Now, you don't have to do the same thing at it, but personally to me, we've gotten a lot of Rey. I think we need to get like a whole movie about Ben Solo. Because in the Skywalker saga, we've gotten Kylo Ren and slowly gotten Ben Solo. But I think we need a whole movie about Ben Solo. And you can say the last thing he has of Rey is their child. And all he sees in his child is Rey. And that's what keeps him from living day by day by day to to not die and wanting to be with her in the Force because he has this child, his child with Rey, he has to protect. Now, and you can even say that he is the last Force user because Rey was the last Jedi. Because Ben Solo is not a Jedi. Let's put that out in the open. He's not a Jedi. So I think that would be creating the foundation. Is like Finn, Poe, even Rose are gone, right? They're gone, or we don't hear from them much ever again. And so it's just Ben and his child. So what about it could be anything. It could be like he's running from like a cult of people that want to destroy all Force shooters from the galaxy because all they do is cause galactic pain. Yes, they do some good, but not good enough for them to keep living. So it could be that they are both running from these people. And I thought, who can play a future Ben Solo? Because Adam Driver as young Ben Solo is so good. He's so good. For most people, they wish he was Anakin Skywalker because it would make it that much better. But I personally like Hayden Christensen as portrayed as Anakin Skywalker, so I'm glad Adam Driver is Ben Solo. But I thought about you can use technology to age up Adam Driver. I'm like, no, yeah, those don't really work in my opinion. I just feel like you would need a new actor, and I think my actor would be Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves as John Wick, Matrix, all those other good movies. I think Keanu Reeves as an older Ben Solo, kind of John Wickish. He's slower, but he's still as lethal as he was 20, 30 years ago. I think that would be a great casting. Now you could bring Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley for like some dream sequence, and they're both young as they were in The Rise of Skywalker. And I think that would be a wonderful moment of Rey encouraging him in that force dream, force moment, or vision kind of thing. It's like, you have to go on. You have to go on for, not just for me, but for our child one more time. You gotta fight the fight. And I think whatever that leads to his death, or finally just doing all that he wants to do to finally move on for all the bad from his life and to put that good in that child, boy or girl. It could be really any. That really doesn't matter because both would be good. But I think kind of a good moment of him dying, protecting his child, and being reunited in Rey. I think that would be pretty cool, giving that final movie with Ben Solo. The final movie for Solo going out like a boss. So I think that would be pretty cool in my eyes. But I think that's how I would pitch a Ben Solo movie. So how would you pitch a Ben Solo movie or even any kind of Star Wars movie? Would you do the Knights of the Old Republic with Bastila Riven? Or would you do a Marvel movie? Would you do a DC movie? Tell me what movie would you pitch to a studio? Tell me in the comments, and I would love to hear what you have to say. So, that's going to be the end of this episode, and I'd like to thank you for listening, and like always, I hope you have a great and fantastic day. See you soon.